there tomorrow.
Hey, why not? Teddy Bruschi and the Wildcats' Desert Swarm defense are court ballast bound to put the hurt on the Beavers. Arizona, Oregon State, Saturday at 7 on Prime Sports.
It's Mortal Kombat, Fists of Fury. Fight night at the Forum, Monday night at 8 on Prime Sports.
I play because the 37th pick in the draft usually doesn't. I play for the sweet crossover and the nice pull-up J. I play because, hey, I want a sneaker commercial too. I play for the sound of nothing but net. Swoosh. I play for all the people who never stop cheering. I play for Prime Sports. I play because, hey, wouldn't you?
Well, if they're all like this year, it's going to be something, huh? The Lakers win it 98-96. 98 points, and two guys total 50 of them. Sabalas had 26, and Van Exel had 24. But it was a team win, of course, and the Los Angeles Lakers are breathing a little easier now because they blew an 18-point lead, fell behind by as many as 3, but they came back to win it, and that's what counts. Now, let's take a look at our Gatorade game summary. Abdul, Rauf, and Stith, they had 54 between them, 32 and 22. Sabalas, as I said, had 26 and Van Exel 24. The Nuggets shot 45% from the floor, the Lakers 44. Sabalas, in addition to his 26 points, got what he averaged last year, 8 rebounds. 16 out of 24 free throws made by Denver, and the Lakers can thank their lucky stars. They made free throws 23 out of 26. The Laker victory, and we'll be back with the final word in a moment on the Lakers Basketball Network.
This is my dad's old railroad watch. He sure seemed to get a lot more time out of it than I do. You know, Great Western Bank can help you with the time that you do have. You can deposit your paycheck automatically, check up on your accounts by phone 24 hours a day, and Great Western's even open Saturdays till 3. So if you need more time to get things done, just ask.
Introducing the MGD Wide Neck. 16 ounces of cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft. In a bigger bottle with a new wider neck, which should make getting to its smooth draft taste even easier. Now that ought to float your boat.
Philadelphia, birthplace of the Constitution and the cheesesteak. I secretly replaced the cheesesteaks at Tony's with my own. They're filled with juicy marinated steak and grilled onions and peppers smothered in melting cheese. Let's see if anyone noticed. How's that Philly cheesesteak?
Wonderful. The best. Hey, you ain't Tony.
I'm his brother, Jackie.
Oh, yeah.
In a perfect world, you'd drive a perfect car. One that had all the features you need. Like air conditioning, airbag, a bumper-to-bumper warranty, and anti-lock brakes. Unfortunately, the world's not perfect. But with General Motors value pricing, you actually get those things and more, all included for one low sticker price. Of course, there are still a few things beyond our control.
William Baldwin, Cindy Crawford.
Kate!
They have 24 hours to find out who wants her dead.
Somebody knows every move we make.
And why. Fair Game. Rated R. Now playing at a theater near you.
Nobody does it like you.
The new Hoover Steam Vac Deluxe with 5-brush agitator. Compared to professionals, there's no comparison.
Nobody does it like you.
Lakers basketball on Prime Sports has been brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Fly Southwest, the low-fare airline. By Lexus Luxury Automobiles, a new journey in the relentless pursuit of perfection. By Miller Lite. When you've got the great taste of an ice-cold Miller Lite, life is good. By Great Western's family of companies, now backed by over $44 billion in assets. Great Western will always be there. By Gatorade Thirst Quencher, who reminds you that sweat loves company. Life's a sport. Drink it up. By Toyota and their full line of quality cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. And by Hoover. Nobody gets the dirt like Hoover. Nobody.
Well, if you don't know by now, I'll tell you, the Lakers won it 98-96, and it wasn't easy. Looked like it was going to be. The Lakers got out in front by 18 points with about 6 minutes to play in the third quarter. Then they went to sleep, just as Chick said, all year long in the preseason. It has not been a team that could sustain the fine play that got them their 18-point lead. But fortunately, they hung on, and with a heartbeater at the end, they won it 98-96. Let's take a look now at our Cal Lotto player of the game. It was Cedric Ceballos. Cedric had 26 points, and his free throwing and other Lakers free throwing responsible for the victory. Cedric hit 12 out of 12. Now, of course, the Los Angeles Lakers will be flying to Seattle tonight, and after that, they will go on to Minneapolis and then over to Utah. So it's a tough first week of the season, particularly when they will be without, apparently, for all of those games, Eddie Jones for sure, and probably Peeler. And with those two coming back, it is going to give this club one big boost. But there were a lot of good individual plays tonight. The Lakers had too many turnovers, and that very often can cost you a ball game. The outside shooting of the Nuggets was sensational. In fact, it's a real good basketball team. It really is. And I think that they will make the playoffs this year. Although I think in each, the East and the Western Conference, there are about 8 teams that could win and get on to the finals. All right, now, once again, the final score, the Lakers 98, the Nuggets 96. Stay tuned for Press Box. That's coming up next. For Stu Lance and Larry Burnett, this is Chick Hearn saying good night from the Great Western Forum.
Wilson's incredible under $20 leather gift sale. You see, money really is no object. Wilson's, the leather experts. Call 1-800-3-LEATHER for the store nearest you.
The Maglite flashlight is a work of art that works. A Maglite flashlight is the brilliant gift idea for any occasion.
I travel halfway across town for a Rally Burger. Let's put it that way.
Rally Burger, now only 79 cents.
Sometime I eat one and get halfway across town, and I say, where's the next Rally's?
Slick 50 protects the vital moving parts of your engine for up to 50,000 miles. Slick 50 starting your engine without it is a terrible thing to do.
We would like to welcome all of you that have been watching the Lakers and the Nuggets on Prime Sports West. Ooh, this is the Press Box. And my sources tell me that Rick Weinberg has been working a little OT this week to get the scoop for you. Move over hard copy. Get out of our way, Inside Edition, for the real dirt on what makes this world go round. Who else can deliver but the Press Box Insider?
Charles Barkley, the Phoenix Suns' explosive scorer and rebounder, is still peeved at general manager Jerry Colangelo for trading Dan Marley for John Hot Rod Williams. Charles admits that Williams' rebounding, defense, and shot blocking adds a dimension that the Suns desperately need as they begin their drive for that elusive NBA championship. But while polling NBA players on their game's best general managers, I asked Charles if Colangelo gets his vote. Charles snickered and said no. His vote goes to another GM named Jerry Krause of the Bulls. Emmitt Smith, the Cowboys' electrifying all-pro running back, has racked up 979 yards in 8 games, putting him on a pace to become only the 3rd back in history to rush for 2,000 yards. Smith, who's outrushed 24 teams, needs to average 127 yards in the final 8 games to join the exclusive 2,000-yard club. Emmitt's quest may come down to the final game, which is at Arizona, And Cardinals tackle Eric Swan says if it does, Smith can forget about cracking the 2,000-yard barrier in Arizona's house against a swarming defense desperate for respect. With 49ers running back William Floyd out for the season with a knee injury, San Francisco is in complete disarray, and the luster of its highly anticipated confrontation with the Cowboys November 12th in Texas has all but been erased. The marquee matchup was billed as the real Super Bowl, but with the Cowboys running over opponents with ease, the game of the year has become Dallas versus Kansas City Thanksgiving Day in Texas. Chiefs linebacker Derek Thomas says that with Kansas City playing Washington, San Diego, and Houston the next 3 weeks, he expects the Chiefs to be 10-1 going into Dallas. Three-time scoring champ Brett Hull of the St. Louis Blues may have had his captaincy stripped by coach Mike Keenan, but Hull has the respect of every player in the NHL. Hull ripped Keenan for benching Dale Howardchuk last weekend in Buffalo, where the All-Star center played the previous 5 seasons. Howardchuk's parents were present at the game, and the humiliation he suffered infuriated Hull, who claims Keenan's mind games supersede his desire to win. I'm Rick Weinberg. We'll see you next week on the Press Box Insider.
All right, good job, Rick. And by the way, those of you in Prime Sports West, watch the Laker game. We'll have a full show coming up in just a couple of minutes. Also, Eric Lindros and
Hunsker had been the assistant GM with the Mets. Don Mattingly may have played his last season in pinstripes. Today, the Yankees captain was one of 5 players to file for free agency. Mattingly has spent his entire 13-year career in New York. Yankees third baseman Wade Boggs has also put his hat in the free agent ring. Boggs is 37 years old, and he led the Yankees with a .324 average last season.
Now, my sources tell me there is no one more dialed in than our very own Rick Weinberg. So here is Rick with this week's Press Box Insider.
Leave it to Deion Sanders, the Cowboys' dazzling cornerback and wide receiver, to launch the hardest-hitting salvo in the war of words between the 49ers and Cowboys as they head into this weekend's matchup in Dallas. Deion describes the Niners as an old, cranky team and the Cowboys as young, energized Bucks who will not only win the Super Bowl this season, but in 3 of the next 5 years. The 49ers are sick of Deion's criticism, and Niners linebacker Ken Norton Jr. has issued a warning to Sanders. Don't venture over the middle on pass patterns. Look to go out of bounds on punt returns because you're going to get creamed by one or more of your former teammates. Jeff Hostetler, the Raiders' tough and gritty quarterback, returns to the Meadowlands Sunday to confront for the first time the coach who dumped him, Dan Reeves. Hostetler has had this game circled on his calendar since the spring, and there's nothing he wants more than to embarrass Reeves, making him further regret releasing Haas 3 years ago. Hostetler also wants to shove it to the New York fans who questioned his courage even when he replaced an injured Phil Simms and led the Giants to a Super Bowl victory over Buffalo. Mike Keenan, the controversial general manager and coach of the Blues, has already infuriated St. Louis fans by trading the popular Brendan Shanahan and Curtis Joseph. But now Keenan wants to trade his star scorer, Brett Hull, to the New York Rangers for Mark Messier. But it won't happen. The Rangers consider Messier a treasure, and now that they have enough scoring power, they don't necessarily need the Blues' 2-time scoring champion. Vin Baker, the Milwaukee Bucks' powerful forward, has an escape clause in his contract, and even though he loves playing with Glenn Robinson, Baker is intrigued with the idea of returning home to New England and playing for the Celtics. Boston would love nothing more than to get Baker because, as one Eastern Conference coach says, the Celtics are the saddest-looking team in the NBA. Even if Lions coach Wayne Fontes guides Detroit to the playoffs, he will still lose his job, and the top name on owner William Ford's list is Vikings defensive coordinator Tony Dungy. Ford said publicly this week that Fontes must make the playoffs to retain his job, and with Fontes' glittering 18-6 December record, the Lions may just find a way to squeeze into the postseason. But Ford is fed up with his high-priced, underachieving team, and he will pull the plug on Fontes at the end of the season, playoff appearance or not. I'm Rick Weinberg, and we'll see you next week on the Press Box Insider.
The human highlight team, the Seattle Sonics, once again figuring to contend, and contend the key word, whereas the regular season has been nothing more than just a stroll for them. Rick Weinberg tells us it's about time this club stops their stumbling in the postseason.
The Seattle Supersonics are so loose and giddy, the last thing in the world you'd believe is that they're the winningest organization over the last 2 seasons, only to get stunned in the first round of the playoffs 2 years in a row. But it is the Sonics who have become synonymous with embarrassing first-round playoff elimination, losing first to the Denver Nuggets after winning a league-best 63 games, then to the Lakers last year after winning 57. But head coach George Karl has adopted a theme for the season that he hopes will be a springboard to overcome unprecedented playoff failure.
My whole thing is I want this team to have more fun and less fighting. And it seems like the NBA is shrinking in fun, and there seems to be more anger and fighting in our league and amongst coaches and amongst teammates and so forth and so forth. I think this team can have fun, and that's one of the goals, I guess, one of the ideas, release the pressure by enjoying what we do.
And what the Sonics do is run the break, explode to the hoop, knock down the three, and play a frenzied style of pressure defense that may be the best in the NBA. The Sonics will win 55 to 58 games once again. The question is whether they can overcome the psychological hurdle of the first round. They believe they can, and Coach George Karl has placed the responsibility in the hands of Gary Payton and Sean Kemp.
This is the year I feel that Gary Payton and Sean Kemp should take leadership of this basketball team. And I'm not hiding it. You know, we've been asking them and kind of pushing them in that direction, but it's point blank out in the clear that this should be Sean and Gary's year. It should be their team, and they should be responsible for the success of it.
Last year, we tried to do too many things that wasn't good for the basketball team. Me and Sean really realized that. And I think this year, we just have to relax and lay back and help the other guys become the kind of players that we're trying to become. And once we make them better around us, I think our team will be a lot better.
Karl claims the biggest change in the Sonics is that they'll play more individual man-to-man defense and double team less, but just one look at the roster illustrates the biggest difference of all is the elimination of disgruntled guard Kendall Gill.
I think this year's team is going to be more professional. It has a lot of good character. I think last year we had too many egos and too many individuals breaking the team apart because they wanted and made demands that I had to manage.
Make that individual, namely Gill, who was traded back to Charlotte for Hersey Hawkins, an efficient two-guard who can knock down the J and diffuse double teams. But with all the questions, doubts, and psychological obstacles, can the Sonics win the NBA title?
Yeah, we know we're one of the best teams in the NBA. We've proven that in the regular season, but we haven't proven it in the playoffs, and that's our challenge this season. But this team is ready for that challenge, is talented enough for that challenge, and we're excited about it.
Cleveland Indians slugger Albert Bell had one of the greatest regular seasons in history and was clearly the American League's most outstanding player after finishing first in home runs with 50, tying for the league lead in RBIs with 126 and batting .316. But that doesn't guarantee he's going to win the American League Most Valuable Player Award, which will be announced Thursday and will be one of the closest votes in history. Bell, the first player to hit 50 homers and 50 doubles in a season, will probably be ousted by Boston's Mo Vaughn, who clearly epitomizes the difference between an MVP and a player who had an outstanding season. In a press box poll conducted with various managers, coaches, and scouts, the consensus is Vaughn should win MVP because without him, the Red Sox wouldn't have won the Eastern Division. And without Bell, the Indians still would have won their division because they're such a deep, dynamic team. Vaughn also beat Seattle's Edgar Martinez in our poll, even though Martinez won the batting title with a .353 average, tied Bell for the league lead in runs and doubles, and may have been the difference between the Mariners winning the AL West or finishing second to California. But the question is, what is an MVP? A debate that has raged on for years. Well, it's exactly someone like Vaughn, whose personality and productivity dominated his team, carrying it to first place. It's not someone like Bell, who had an outstanding season, but did it for a team packed with all-stars. Even starting pitchers like Greg Maddux and Randy Johnson should not be considered for MVP because that's what the Cy Young Award is for. Dante Bichette of the Colorado Rockies, who won the National League home run and RBI titles and finished third in the batting race, is the favorite to win the NL MVP, which will be announced tomorrow in what will be another tight ballot by baseball writers. Dante may have clinched the MVP, according to managers and coaches we polled, when he went on a rampage the final 2 weeks of the season to help the Rockies seal a playoff spot. Mike Piazza of the Dodgers will be Bichette's primary competition, along with Barry Larkin of the Cincinnati Reds. But Piazza is the panel's choice because without him, the Dodgers don't even make the playoffs, let alone win the NL West. But the problem in determining an MVP versus an outstanding player still exists. Perhaps Major League Baseball should establish a Babe Ruth Award for the American League, a Hank Aaron Award for the National League, give it to the most outstanding player, and leave the MVP to the everyday player who is the difference between his team finishing first or third. For the Press Box, I'm Rick Weinberg.
All right, thanks very much, Rick. You know, we've had this discussion, Rick and I, about this MVP award, and he claims that it's going to be Mo Vaughn, saying that Albert Bell just didn't endear himself to the media, and that's going to be the reason why he's going to win. I don't believe it. I still think it's going to be Albert Bell. We'll see.
Wrong again. It's a shame. All right.